Hi, I'm Gill Stannard. I'm a naturopath and mentor, and I've been turning up for the last 2 weeks every day at 1 o'clock on my Facebook page, City Natural Therapies. I've also been posting this later on my YouTube channel, which is a link to from my Facebook page if you can't find the video later there. Well, how are you going? I've just come off a Zoom call. Actually, my whole life is a succession of Zoom and FaceTime meetings. Some with clients, some with friends, some with larger collegiate gatherings. And I've just, I'm really, really aware that this has been a huge week for a lot of people. So the previous week, a lot of people did the transition from working in the office to working from home and mad dash to find extra screens. There's this whole world out there where people work on multiple screens. No wonder people have such neck problems. Understanding the wonders of online platforms. Look, if you are working online from home, everything is going to be impacted. Your speed's going to be impacted by how many browsers you have open, with how many tabs you have open, with how many people in your house are also streaming at the same time, and if you're fiber to node, how many people in the street are downloading at the same time. And it just means that some things are a little bit more complicated or take a bit more time than usual. So I'm just observing out there, particularly so many of my colleagues who are clinic-based naturopaths or manual therapists, massage therapists and acupuncturists, osteopaths. Those in the manual therapies are really wondering how they can still work in this next little while the naturopaths and herbalists are packing up dispensaries, bringing them home, bringing client files home that aren't in the cloud, and it's actually physically exhausting. I have moved out of a clinic. I've moved clinic twice in my life, and it is exhausting doing these things. So there's quite a bit of tired and emotionalness going on, which is not necessarily alcohol created, so alcohol probably isn't helping it. Belinda just put in comments that she's the queen of the open tabs. Yeah, I was just in an Inner West integrative practitioners meeting, and Hannah reminded us that, particularly on Chrome, and the only time I use Chrome is actually for Facebook Lives because I'm a Safari girl. But yeah, they just gobble data. I understand why people are working with multiple screens. It's us single screeners who have all these tabs open, and I often think, there's a phrase that I've loved since my kind of late teens when I was getting into metaphysical things, which is, it's an outward manifestation of an inward state. When I look at the amount of tabs open in and 3 browsers with multiple tabs, I just go, that's what's going on in my brain. And if I can just compartmentalize everything and keep them segregated, I'll be fine. So one of the things that's really observed, and I keep mentioning this grief reaction that almost every sentient being is having in relation to what's going on in our lives as well as the world in general at the moment, is the thing about the multiple stages of grief is we don't all go through the same stages at the same time. So recently I've actually I won't call it acceptance, but I've kind of like levels of acceptance, and I've been quite happy. Last week I was angry and I was really unhappy. I think a lot of people are crying at the moment. A lot of people are missing being able to hug people at the moment. If you haven't got, if your bubble is a bubble of one, other people are, and I'm sure Belinda's probably in this state at the moment. Have you got all your kids at home and you're trying to find a new way through your weekly regimes? So I'm just going to say, kind of finishing the week with a couple of thoughts. One is that you've got to be really gentle on yourself at the moment. If you just need to turn everything off and go to bed with a book or Netflix, it's appropriate therapy for a dosage of time. Everything is about dose. It's for a dose of that is maybe what you need. It's when it becomes prolonged of many, many days, it can be more of a sign that something else is going on for you. The emotion I was going to talk about, just touch on today, was triggered by this. I didn't know that the first world was so obsessed about toilet paper. But the reason I've got this core here is to remind me to tell you about something that happened the other day. When I got to the end of the roll, and it's not, oh bugger, I better change it. I don't want to be the one who leaves the, toilet roll holder empty. But I had an uncensored emotion of fear, and it was a fear of lack. It wasn't that there wasn't another roll of toilet paper to put in the roll, but it was that fear of, I understood how people are getting into the panic buying because it's like we've been told we should be afraid. We've been told there's not enough. We've been told of scarcity. It's a real scarcity phenomena. So, if you find these emotions coming up for you, what I'd suggest is to say to yourself, is this true lack? As in, I can't put food in my mouth. There is not another square of toilet paper found and I don't have running water. Or is it, this is representing this time of uncertainty, which is triggering an old communal memory of scarcity. So be aware of your fear of lack. And my biggest antidote to fear of lack is actually to be generous with people around you, and be generous with your kindness to yourself, and to share something out there. It's like, if I'm ever going through a phase, when I'm talking about a difference, everyone has a different buffer. I've got a very privileged buffer. I'll accept that. I can always live week to week, or I'm not living paycheck to paycheck, and I know that people are being absolutely thrown into no buffer. But if you do have a buffer financially and you're going through this total fear of lack around money, usually that triggers me to donate to charity. And it might be $20 or $25 to buy somebody vision through Fred Hollows, or to support a kid through learning. So be aware of your reactions. Everything that you're feeling right now is normal, or it's a normal reaction to a very abnormal situation that we're in. Be kind, be generous, ask for help if you need it, and stay connected. I should be back here at 1 o'clock on Monday. At the moment, I'm booked in for my regular first aid update. When I contacted the company this week to say, is it still going to be on? And they said, yes. Contacted my association and said, what happens if it's cancelled or I feel too uncomfortable to be in this space? And they're saying, well, it's still on. We've contacted them. It's still on. But we will come back to you. So for those who don't know, if you are a naturopath, your association membership and your public liability insurance is dependent on you having a current first aid certificate. So if I'm not here at 1, it's because I'm in a socially, hopefully physically distanced space doing my first aid. If we are at the next level, I don't know what happens there. I have a feeling you might see me next Monday at 1. Otherwise, have a great weekend, people. Go take care of yourself. And if you've got some sunshine where you are, could you please enjoy it while we have it as we go into autumn. See you later. See you next week. Bye.